So my name's Kate, and I am one of the digital marketing specialists at ePocket. So just a quick little bit of information. I've got a quick little disclaimer. I mean, I don't know that it's super applicable to this topic, but just better to be safe than sorry. So just that all, my opinions are my own and they do not constitute financial advice in any way whatsoever. This is all purely educational, and if you are looking to invest, say in cryptocurrency, it's definitely recommended to do your due diligence and really seek financial advice as well if you have a financial plan or anything like that. A little bit about ePocket. So ePocket is a Melbourne-based cryptocurrency exchange. So we're lucky enough to be going into our fifth lockdown, which is just great. So we'll all be working from home over the next, hopefully just 5 days. So yeah, if you do have any questions or anything, if there is any kind of admin processing times that seem a little bit delayed, it's due to that because our communications are purely, technological for these 5 days. So we were founded in 2015. Our platform functions as it's like its own financial ecosystem. So once funds are deposited into an ePocket wallet, they're actually if you want to transfer to another ePocket wallet, or if you want to transfer crypto from an ePocket wallet to another one, it all occurs instantaneously. You don't have to rely on the type of bank or like the blockchain congestion or anything like that. It's completely separate to that, and which keeps it a little bit more private as well, especially in terms of like tracking, like on the blockchain.com trackers and stuff like that. I'm just going to pop in a little link. If you're not an ePocket customer and you are, interested in the product, feel free to have a look. There's some information on that page, and our accounts are free. So if you want to sign up and just have a play around with the account, you're more than welcome to do so. It won't cost you anything. So our exchange has API connectivity to 5 global exchanges. So rather than relying on the buyers and sellers of our own product and our own services, we actually have the combined liquidity of 5 different exchanges. So yeah, this means that essentially if you place a buy order, that order is fulfilled instantly because we have such a deep liquidity as well. It also means that orders are executed at the best market price at the moment, in like the moment that you place the trade. You don't have to stress about placing the order and then it's fulfilled at a lower price. It's unless there's like an error in the amount that you've entered or the funds available or whatnot, the order will always go through. So we're just going to jump into sort of what is DeFi and how it sort of differs from the financial system of today. So like the banking system as we know it is a centralized system. So you've got, like the central bank, and it's operated by those governing bodies and those financial institutions like banks. And so in order to get access to like loans and mortgages or even like trading stocks, you have to rely on that middleman. So the purpose of decentralized finance, or DeFi, is that it gives the power to like everyday people. And this happens through peer-to-peer transactions. And we'll keep breaking this down a little bit throughout the webinar. Essentially, it just removes a need for a middleman, and it opens up access to the financial system a little bit. So it can facilitate like borrowing, purchasing, and lending to and from complete strangers without having to trust that person, I suppose. So decentralized applications, they traditionally run on the Ethereum protocol. So that means that they require crypto to upload and execute what they call smart contracts. And we'll delve into that a little bit more later as well. So these functionalities seem to be what is really keeping Ethereum as the main competitor to Bitcoin, I guess. And and sort of is what gives it that value, whereas Bitcoin, its characteristics to gold and being dubbed as a digital gold, its ability to hedge against inflation and whatnot, those are what gives it value, and makes it popular in the market with all the buyers and sellers. So essentially, to borrow and lend money from decentralized platforms, or the decentralized apps, or dApps, sometimes they're called, lenders lend their assets to a liquidity pool, and borrowers borrow from this same liquidity pool. So the pool is essentially a series of smart contracts, and these smart contracts match the borrowers and with the assets that are available in the pool. So it uses an algorithm, and these smart contracts determine, say, the interest rate that is applicable, and it will shuffle them based on each crypto asset's supply and demand ratio. So the old supply and demand in economics is more buyers and less sellers means that the price will go up, and too many sellers and not enough buyers means that the price will go down. And essentially this is a very basic economic theory, and it underlies a lot about cryptocurrency and its price fluctuations. So using this liquidity pool will generate like a native token that's native to that decentralized app, and pretty much it automatically keeps earning interest for the depositor over time. So the people who lend money or lend their assets into the liquidity pool receive an interest payment on that asset. So there's a number of DeFi applications that are available to date, and they're quite popular as well. Some of them you may have heard include Maker and Compound. Currently, ePocket does not facilitate lending and borrowing. It is definitely something that we are interested in and that our development team has been working on, but at the moment it's not a functionality. We have just been trialing with our product, our term deposits. So our term deposits, our interest rates are a lot higher than what you would get in the traditional banking system, and that's the same if you're lending to an asset pool. The difference between earning interest for lending to an asset pool and not lending, but putting it into a term deposit, is that you're not risking your crypto. So we'll go over some of the risks in the next slide and towards the end of the webinar. But it is possible to lose money in an asset pool if it gets if the developer runs it dry, which we'll go over later. But in terms of a term deposit, all you do is you deposit however much you want to put aside, and ePocket facilitate that through Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then I'm just going to put a quick link up for that one as well. Share now. And then you can we pay 2% per annum on any Bitcoin and or Ethereum holdings that are over the value or equivalent to US $1,000. And this is paid out on a monthly basis. So rather than sort of having your money tied up in that liquidity pool, you can access these funds at any time. So if you have an unexpected bill that pops up, you're able to pull the money out and pay that bill. If the only thing is that if you do withdraw the money, you just don't get paid interest for that anniversary month. But then on the other side of that, if you add in more money and you deposit more savings to it, then your interest is then calculated off of the updated amount. So that link there is just some more information, some more in-depth information, I guess, about the term deposits that ePocket offers specifically. I mean, it is the interest rate of 2% is due to the volatility of the market. So, with the Australian dollar, I guess it hasn't got quite a large spread, as large spread as Bitcoin or even Ethereum. And so, you're only getting like 0.1 to 0.1 to 1% of interest paid out on that. And, usually you have to lock it in for an actual term, hence term deposit. Whereas we've kind of changed the product to suit our own customers and what we think is right. I mean, everyone should be able to access their finances whenever they want, and why not make money off of that at the same time. So we'll just go through some of like the risks and benefits of decentralized finance. So as with any software, one of the risks is a coding weakness. So if there's an issue with a developer's code, there could be potentially a weakness in the actual DeFi protocol, but that's the same with any software. I mean, the software is only ever as good as the coding that's done. So this is why ePocket undertakes very extensive due diligence and testing when we are developing a new function, because we value quality over speed. We don't want to be implementing something that could potentially have a weakness and lose money for people. We go through a very extensive process before actually making that functionality live. Another weakness of DeFi is that some applications will require you to collateralize a loan by about 150%. Due to market volatility, if the price drops below this, like the value of what the 150% was, then you'll be required to pay an additional fee. So people will usually look to take out loans. Well, their collateral will be more than 150% because, they'll try to accommodate the potential spread. So it really depends on how volatile that cryptocurrency is. And I think we all know from the last sort of bear run that it can be very volatile even when it seems to be stable. So that's definitely another risk involved in it. And the next one sort of moves into that, just that the market is volatile. But another one is that the market is unregulated. And this is what I was talking about with some of the risks of liquidity pools, is that if DeFi loans that are collateralized, I can't talk, with other crypto assets, borrowers like using those protocols, they won't be held accountable if they're unable to pay back a loan. There was an example last year with a popular DApp or decentralized app, which was SushiSwap. So the SushiSwap developer liquidated his native sushi tokens after he raised, I think it was over $1 billion in collateral from people loaning. So so the liquidity pool ended up being worth of these useless sushi tokens, and the developer kept all the popular, I think it was like Ether tokens, which was able to be liquidated. So there's always a risk, and it's sort of like a backdoor way of doing it. It was very dodgy, but that's something you really need to consider as well and be prepared for. Just with anything, do your due diligence when you're considering anything to do with crypto or even your finances. Some of the benefits though, so transfers can occur sort of within minutes rather than taking days. If you want to take out a loan from a liquidity pool, it's pretty much automatic execution due to the smart contracts and due to the algorithms. There's also no limitation to, your country or anything like that. As long as you have access to internet, you have access to these decentralized apps. Also, the data is pretty much tamper-proof, and this is thanks to the entire blockchain technology that is emerging. So once data's entered onto a block, the only way to change that data is to actually manually execute the change from each computer that has verified the transaction. And because, unless they've reached like the 50% rule, it's virtually impossible. And that's the beauty of blockchain. Additionally, it's pseudonymous. So that means that, you have probably all seen in your ePocket wallet, when you go into your trading wallet and you see your list of available cryptocurrencies, that when you click on them and when you click on deposit, there's actually a deposit address. And so this address is called a public key. And this is pretty much like an account number. And so this number is specific to that particular cryptocurrency in that particular wallet and for you only. And so this is what pseudonymous means, is that your data, although it is displayed to the world, to the universe, it's not actually your personal private data. So unless someone actually knows your exact public key number, they won't know that it was your transaction. They'll be able to see it and see that it happened. But yeah, they won't be able to say, oh, John Doe did this transaction on this day. It's also beautiful in the way that it's open and completely permissionless. So literally anyone with internet access can access decentralized finance. So that's completely opposite to the traditional banking system, where your identity is very closely interrelated with your financial activity. You know, you can't open a bank account without providing your oh my gosh, your photo identification, utility bill. I mean, you have to sign 1,000,001 documents, and evidence of your collateral and whatnot. Whereas the processes for decentralized finance are just a lot more simplified in that sense. Like I said before when I was talking about public keys and the fact that it's pseudo-anonymous, it's also built on transparency. So even though, yeah, like I said, your public key is listed for everyone to see, it's still private in that sense. But it means that this transparency means that everyone can inspect how the system works. So that's the same with the protocol as well as with the transactions that occur on that protocol. Awesome. So we'll just go a little bit over sort of what are smart contracts, because they are like the foundation of DeFi applications. And I'm just going to do like a quick comparison. There's a quick comparison on the right-hand side of the screen. So we've got a Bitcoin token and we've got an ATM, and then we've got the Ethereum token and a laptop. And so I think this is a really good comparison of the two cryptocurrencies, in that Bitcoin is really good as like a value, and it has sort of one job, and that's to transfer value from one wallet to another. So Ethereum, on the other hand, is kind of like a computer. So, you can access the internet, you can watch movies, you can transfer money. There's like a number of different things that you can do with Ethereum and on the Ethereum blockchain. So essentially, there's two different accounts on the Ethereum protocol. So there's an external account, which is like a user account. And so that's something that you or I would have that has a public key and a private key. And then there's smart contracts. So smart contracts are still a specific address on the blockchain, like what we have with our public key, but they actually have to pay to be there, because the smart contract will use the storage on the Ethereum blockchain in order to sort of reside there and to function, essentially. So essentially, smart contracts have a balance, and they can send transactions over the network. However, they're not actually controlled by a single user. They're actually deployed to the network, and they run as they're programmed, or how the developer has coded it. User accounts can interact with a smart contract through using gas, which is like the native token that fuels the Ethereum blockchain. And the smart contract can then like submit transactions to execute that function that is submitted. But yeah, they can define rules and whatnot like a regular contract, and we'll go over some of the other use applications outside of the financial industry a little bit later, but they're automatically enforced by that code. So that's really that's really one of the beauties of decentralized finance, that speed up the process as well, because these smart contracts are automatic, and they're completely coded, completely unreliant on humans. And I mean, humans are probably what slow a lot of processes, even in politics and healthcare, everything. So we'll just go a little bit over those other, so like what makes Ethereum a little bit different from Bitcoin. We'll just go over this a little bit like quite quickly. So like I said, where Bitcoin has one kind of transaction type, which is value from A to B, Ethereum has a number of different transaction types. So at the top, we've got the same as what Bitcoin would have, is that you're trying to send a balance from wallet A to wallet B. So in this example, wallet A wants to send one Ethereum to wallet B. But there's also the smart contract related transactions, which are the bottom two. And so that's where wallet A can upload a contract to wallet B, which would be uploading a smart contract. And then, like I said before, how user accounts can actually interact with smart contracts, they can actually execute that contract. And so that's another kind of transaction again. And yeah, just at the bottom, we've just got a little explanation about gas, just in case, just in case anyone's quite new to crypto and hasn't actually had to deal with gas directly. So it's pretty much what fuels like Ethereum transactions, to put it really quite simply. The amount of gas that's required for the uploading or execution of that smart contract is actually specified by the developer. So we're just going to go a little bit about what smart contracts can do beyond decentralized finance, and then we'll dive back sort of into where we might see decentralized finance in the next, in the next sort of stages of its development. So smart contracts beyond DeFi can extend into a number of different operations. So like I said, usually humans are what slow down processes. So an example of this was the latest US election. And, there's always like accusations of rigging and all that. So a way that smart contracts can be utilized is to actually prevent rigging of the voting system through like ledger protected votes. And it would also allow like more accurate counting, more efficient counting. Something similar is in the healthcare sort of sector. So rather than, your doctor holding onto your personal record, they can actually be encoded and stored onto a private blockchain. And so this would be, once again, done through smart contracts. This private key would be sort of individual for each, or private for each user. So similar to the private key that is created when you create a crypto wallet. So with ePocket, we actually hold onto that private key, but only because if you lose a private key, it's lost forever. So instead we give you a login username, which is your mobile number, and a password, just to keep your funds safe. I mean, I'm sure you all would have heard about, there's poor people that had like $40 million worth of Bitcoin on a wallet, and they've lost their private keys. They've lost all the access to the wallet. So the purpose of giving you an account with ePocket, instead of having to hold on to the private key yourself, it's just that you always have access to those funds. Another sort of scenario is like logistics and management. So it minimizes problems in like communication. So say with the latest COVID outbreak, there was obviously slowing down of like Australia Post or DHL, just general postage systems. And if this was using smart contracts, it wouldn't even be affected by something like a pandemic as severely as it was. So we'll just go over. So this is just a quick graph from Forbes, actually, and so it just shows how much DeFi has actually grown. This is in the past, just over a year, since May 22nd in 2020, and we can see just a very gradual and sharp increase. So at the moment, there is it's almost hitting that $100 billion locked into like liquidity pools, which is really incredible. It's quite a significant amount, and you can see how quickly that's grown from June through to May. it's incredible. So it will be interesting to see where it continues to grow, to see if it, it keeps that exponential growth, or if it seems to sort of plateau out a little bit. One of the weaknesses of DeFi is definitely that it relies on the Ethereum protocol, which is great, but the only problem is that it only processes about 15 transactions per second. So as such, there's been a number of alternative blockchains that have or that are being built and that are being tested that can actually facilitate a much higher number of transactions per second. So, with future applications, it'll be interesting to see if Ethereum remains the choice, like the preferred blockchain for decentralized finance, or if through, trial and error, another blockchain is discovered, I guess, and trusted, which we'll go on to now. So, another weakness is that, like, due to like a lack of regulation, there's also a lack of insurance over your finances, like we mentioned earlier. So this is definitely a challenge for the technology. So it'll be interesting to see if, like I said, if there's a new blockchain protocol that is created specific for decentralized applications that is sort of improved upon in terms of like guarantee that you're not going to lose money in it, essentially. So that will be important. That level of trust and building that level of trust will definitely be important, so that people can lend and borrow, I guess, crypto at a very safe and accessible level without having to risk anything really, due to very strict processes, like I was mentioning with sushi swap, avoiding that sort of thing where the developers can kind of create a backdoor to sneak out and just scam a lot of people. But yeah, we'll see where that goes, I guess. It will be interesting to see this chart, especially in like another 6 months' time, to see what this price drop has really done to it, and if it's even affected it that much. We can see that it started to sort of drop at the end here, but whether it's a repeat of like the February to March cycle, yeah, it will be interesting. It would be great if it just kept exponentially growing. So next we've just got some questions and feedback. If you do have any any feedback, just email it to support@epocket.com.au. We also have our customer service line at 0385668869. If you are international, we are also available on WhatsApp. So that mobile number, the +61, is Australia's area code, and the 478048238. So that yeah, if you're located internationally, it means that you can message us or give us a call without having to be charged the international roaming fees as well. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there for tonight. Please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to give that number a call if you have any questions more specific to ePocket as well. If you're especially if you're new to the ePocket community, we just released our platform in January this year, and so we really want to hear all the customers' feedback. We're constantly trying to work and develop and refine all of the processes. So yeah, it's very valued, and yeah, customer is number one. So we really want to hear that feedback so that we can make it as easy, user-friendly as possible, I guess. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to leave that one there. I'll upload this recording to YouTube tomorrow, so everyone can refer back to it if you want to as well. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. And